community of Delano. You can see the damage done to part of the Polyplastics company as Skycam 16 flies overhead, and you can see that the fire is still burning. Newswatch 16's Bob Costantini on the scene tells me that a storage area for the company is destroyed, damage estimated at $1 million. Now, these pictures were taken at 5 this morning as 17 fire companies battled the blaze. The building, which makes plastic storage bags and plastic wrapping material, was hit by flames just after 3 a.m. By 4 a.m., flames had eaten through the roof. Several firemen had to be treated at the scene for breathing in too much smoke. Now, there's no word on a cause. Several fire companies still in that Schuylkill County community of Delano now, wetting down the smoldering ruins of the Polyplastics storage building. Icy roads in the Delano area also caused problems this morning. On his way back from that fire, Newswatch 16 photographer Tim Keegan came upon this accident at the Delano exit of Route 81. State police say a pickup truck driven by a Lancaster County man hit a patch of ice just after 5 this morning and collided with a tanker truck. Now, the pickup truck is totaled. Neither driver was hurt in that Schuylkill County accident. A state police fire marshal from the Pottsville barracks is looking into what is being called a case of arson in Mahanoy City. Over the weekend, a lumber company warehouse and 4 row homes went up in flames, and Mahanoy City's fire chief says they were probably deliberately set fires. You see the damage here from Skycam 16. Several firemen there had to be treated for smoke inhalation, too, and the intense heat from the fire shattered 2 windshields in nearby fire trucks. The Mahanoy City Lumber Company warehouse is destroyed. State police cutting.
Our blaze is suspicious.
Flames hit the Polyplastics company in Delano early this morning. Newswatch 16 photographer Tim Keegan took these pictures shortly after the blaze broke out. The storage area of the company is destroyed. Workers on the night shift were there as flames attacked the plant. None of the workers was hurt, but several firemen had to be treated for breathing in too much smoke. The company in Schuylkill County makes plastics products. Newswatch 16's Bob Costantini was in Delano as the fire continued to burn and as a state police fire marshal searched for clues.
Heavy black smoke continues to rise from the warehouse area in these pictures from Skycam. That's where investigators believe the fire at Polyplastic Products started. The location has company officials thinking the fire was arson.
There is no heat and no electrical outlets in that part of the building.
Polyplastics makes plastic bags and wrap at the Delano plant. The storage area where the fire apparently broke out was built just last summer. All over the ground are these little plastic pellets that are used by the company to make its plastic products. Now, they're melted down, but they also burn quite easily and quite dangerously. And they posed a problem inside for the men fighting this blaze.
They're all in containers and that type thing, and as you're walking through the dark and you have a light with you, I went down pretty far up to my knees.
In the early morning, firemen knew they'd be here many hours because plastic was burning in the warehouse. Firemen say it's difficult to get plastic to burn, but once it is, even more difficult to put it out.
The water does not extinguish plastic. All you can do is try and control it, keep it to this one end of the building, which the guys did a fabulous job in doing.
17 fire and rescue companies were on the scene. So were some Polyplastic workers concerned about their jobs.
Well, I don't know. I hope they go back up. I guess I don't know if it's going to be a while, though. I have 2 kids at home. I hope it's soon they go back up.
Company officials are telling workers they will try to reopen the plant within a few weeks. Bob Costantini, Newswatch 16, Delano, Schuylkill County.
State police fire investigators are probing another Schuylkill County fire that destroyed a lumber company warehouse and also left 10 people homeless. The same fire investigator looking at the Delano blaze is sifting through this scene at the Mahanoy City Lumber and Supply Company. The early morning, Saturday morning blaze also spread to 5 row houses just across a narrow street from the lumber warehouse. The Mahanoy City fire chief says the building was fully involved when he arrived. He calls the blaze suspicious.
Now, at 7 o'clock, the fire flared up again, and crews had to douse the building with water till past 10. The warehouse was hit by flames yesterday morning before 3. 200 firemen had to be called out from 17 different companies to battle the Schuylkill County fire. Damage is estimated at over $1 million. But since not all of the plant was hit by flames, the owner hopes to get back in business soon. That Schuylkill County plant employs 67 people. In an overload, the tribe water. Now, the dogs are trained to sniff out drowning victims. Officials say Lyons was last seen early Saturday morning in a rowboat on the lake with a couple of other people. One friend, Michael McGuigan, was found dead over the weekend. Officials say he drowned. Foul play has just about been ruled out. Now officials are continuing the search for Lyons. Now, just moments ago, Newswatch 16's Valerie Devine tells us that the searchers have found a body. No identity yet. Of course, we'll have more Back to those later, by the way. Among the other local news stories, a fire in Mahanoy City. Skycam 16 has just returned to Newswatch 16 with these pictures. The aftermath of a blaze that hit the Mahanoy City Shirt Company building just before 11 last night. As you can see, that building is destroyed. Fire officials still looking for a cause. Newswatch 16's Dan Fiorucci was in Schuylkill County last night as more than a dozen fire companies battled that Mahanoy City blaze.
It broke out just before 11 p.m., and at its height, the flames were easily visible from over 2 miles away.
Yeah, we're holding good.
The City Shirt Company, an abandoned building in the midst of a residential and business area in Mahanoy City, had caught fire. It wasn't immediately clear what caused the blaze, but it was clear that it was bad.
It's a heavy building, and it gets well involved very easily. With an oil-soaked floor, as one gentleman pointed out, like an old school building, you can't really do much with it because it gets in there and builds up a firestorm, and you got to work like the dickens to get it out.
And work like the dickens they did. Electric wires near the fire were disconnected, and rescue workers were called in to stand by just in case. By about midnight, it started to look as though firefighters were getting the upper hand. What had been a building full of flames was mostly by now a building full of smoke. The building where the fire had started was a total loss, but firefighters did prevent the flames from spreading to nearby buildings in the densely packed downtown area. An investigation into the cause of the blaze is underway. Dan Fiorucci, Newswatch 16, Mahanoy City.
Blaze that tore through an apartment building in Mahanoy City this morning, killing 56-year-old Dolores Kineski. Now, she was one of a dozen people who lived in this apartment building at 39 West Center Street in Mahanoy City. Fire hit the building just after 1, and fire crews who arrived on the scene first rescued several people from the inferno.
Well, when I rolled up on the scene, the third floor had heavy smoke pouring from it. And when we looked up, there was a man actually hanging on the outside of the building. He was outside the window, and apparently his wife was in the window next to him. And she was hanging out as far as her waist, holding a baby out of the window. So our assistant chief went up the ladder and grabbed the baby, brought it down. They took it immediately to the ambulance because, you're worried about smoke inhalation. And then the assistant chief from the Humane went up the ladder and helped the lady out of the window, helped her down the ladder, and then went back up and took the guy out the outside of the building and then brought him down the ladder.
Now, Frank Engel is one of the tenants rescued by the Schuylkill County Fire Crew.
The smoke, I just stayed low. And I stuck my head out the window, and I just waited till they took me out.
So how did they get you out?
Off the ladder. I could stretch over and down the ladder.
Fire officials say the blaze started in the back of the apartment building. Now, there's no word on a cause yet, but the state police...
In all, 16 people are homeless. The apartment building in Mahanoy City is destroyed. Newswatch 16's Valerie Devine talked with one of the fire victims who lost everything.
Karen Jones says what happened at her apartment building in Mahanoy City hasn't hit her yet. She's only lived here for 6 months. Now she has to find someplace else to stay.
I will be staying with a friend of mine from Shenandoah for a while. And I was supposed to move in December to Florida to finish school down there, but now it looks like I'm going earlier.
Karen Jones plans on staying with Maria McCabe in Shenandoah. They're classmates at a business school here in Mahanoy City.
I don't mind her staying. I think it's better for her since she doesn't have a ride from Shamokin to Mahanoy City, and this way I could give her a ride from Shenandoah to Mahanoy City to go to school.
Maria McCabe says she's just happy Karen got out of the building safely. Karen had some friends staying overnight. One of them helped her out of the burning building.
I'm really grateful from what I've seen up there now. There ain't nothing left of her place, nothing at all. And if he hadn't been there at night, she would have been burned alive and in bed.
Firefighters feel the reason Karen Jones and most of the other people got out of this building safely is because of smoke detectors. And they say
2-year-old Dolores Kineski's body was found in her bed with a pillow over her head. She was pronounced dead on arrival at Hazleton State Hospital.
She lives on the apartment below me. When I went to get my daughter, I could hear her below yelling, "Help me, help me." And when I got down here and the fireman asked me if there was anybody else up there, and I said, "Yeah, Dolly's up there on the 2nd floor," I could hear her yelling.
Connie ran into her bedroom, grabbed her 13-month-old daughter, woke up her fiancé as the apartment filled with smoke. They were rescued through a window.
5 people, 4 adults and 1 child, were taken to Ashland State Hospital. 2 remain in the intensive care unit.
They are 25-year-old Glenn Williams and 82-year-old Jane Verbit.
The cause of the fire as of now is still under investigation.
Residents of Mahanoy City are fearful of another fire, accidental or otherwise. They're concerned because of the nature of house construction in that area, row home architecture. Jerry Baum, Eyewitness News, Mahanoy City.
Get lab building and eventually get hose lines laid so we can start attacking the fire.
8 people were rescued from the burning building, but one woman just could not be saved.
Her name is Dolores Kineski. She's age 52. Upon investigating the building, looking for possible victims, we went through the whole building without, we actually got everybody out as much as possible. Roughly a half hour later, we did find out that she was in her room and was not awakened. It appears at this time that she was overcome by smoke.
A state police fire marshal is investigating the cause of that blaze.
Will County. In 1934, the Mahanoy City Social and Athletic Club was formed. That year, they began a tradition of placing a Christmas tree in the middle of Center Street. This year's tree was erected Saturday night. Since that time, 3 cars have struck its mounting pole. One of those accidents left a woman hospitalized and her passenger dead. People have begun calling the tree Killer Tree and saying something needs to be done about it.
I think it's in a terrible place.
Even those who don't call it a hazard say relocating it may not be a bad idea.
It might be a good idea for the future to have it placed somewhere else, maybe along the side.
Because the tree is placed on a state highway, PennDOT must issue a permit for it to be there. The request for that permit has been denied for the past several years, but the Social and Athletic Club says it wasn't notified until January, so the tree went up anyway.
It's been a tradition, and since it's been a tradition and the people seem to have liked it that way, we've continued to do it.
A PennDOT spokesman said today a letter is being drafted notifying Mahanoy City that no permit is granted, and therefore the tree should not be on the street. The Social and Athletic Club says they'll wait for the letter.
Probably want to be without is enough water, but that's exactly what hundreds of people in a section of Schuylkill County are trying to deal with tonight. It's in the village of New Boston, where 700 residents are being asked to conserve what water they have. It's because of a suspicious fire that destroyed a water pumping station overnight. And as Newswatch 16's Valerie Devine reports, the water that's left is just in one holding tank.
This is where Carolyn Lischak of New Boston will get her family's drinking water over the next few days out of her freezer. She had stored this ice from the 4th of July. Now she's thawing it out. She'll use it to cook and to drink, but she knows it won't be easy.
Right now, my mouth feels like there's cotton in it because I'm so thirsty. And I'm trying to conserve, so what else am I going to do? I'm going to have to buy soda and milk and different things, fruit juice. That's the only way I can get around it.
The water problems for residents of New Boston. A fire here at the Water Association's pump house. Firefighters say someone broke through this front door. The fire started inside a short while later. A state police fire marshal is calling the blaze suspicious. Officials say damage could peak at $150,000 to $200,000. And employees are upset because they say this isn't the first time there have been problems here.
We've been putting up with this before, a lot of vandalism. It was nothing to think that you're going to expect something like this, believe me. But it is disgusting. It's heartbreaking.
For now, residents in New Boston are being asked to conserve as much water as possible. Officials say 6 water buffaloes will be brought into New Boston Monday morning. If the water from them runs out, officials are suggesting people get water from this artesian well near the village of Maria. They say DER has tested the water and it is safe. Officials say it could take up to 3 days before the water problems in New Boston are fixed. Valerie Devine, Newswatch 16, Mahanoy Township.
Truck today. He lost control of the truck as he came off Interstate 81 southbound on the McAdoo exit ramp. 33-year-old Richard Knepper of Weatherly in Carbon County was pinned in the cab of his truck for over an hour this morning. He was treated for minor injuries at Hazleton State General Hospital and then released.
Police say that the driver was lucky enough to escape serious injury. The crash happened on the exit ramp off 81 at McAdoo in Schuylkill County. The truck flipped over on a sharp turn. Rescue workers spent an hour prying Richard Knepper from the truck. The Weatherly man was treated and released from Hazleton General Hospital for minor injuries.
This afternoon, that accident happened around 1 p.m. on Route 54 in Butler Township. It happened in an area known as Flicker Hill. Newswatch 16's Mary Beth Marson was there. Officials tell her this tractor trailer went out of control on a slippery road and chopped a utility pole in half before running 75 feet down into a ditch. The rig flipped over. The driver was pinned inside. No word on who he is. He's undergoing emergency treatment after being life-flighted to the Geisinger Medical Center in Danville.
We have an accident. Victim pinned in the cab of his truck. It happened on Route 54 in Butler Township, just outside of Yardville.
He was pinned that sort of long ways in there that they couldn't get at him with the way the truck was flat, damn near like a pancake. I don't know if we'll put that on it, but I mean, it was a rough rescue, I'd put it that way.
Police say the tractor-trailer ran out of control on the slippery road, clipped a utility pole, then ran down into a ditch. Rescue crews had to take apart the cab of the Acme supermarket truck to free the driver. His name is not being released yet. He was life-flighted to Geisinger Medical Center in Danville.
Earlier this afternoon. Now, the fire started around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Skycam 16 hovered above as fire crews fought the smoky fire. The details are coming in right now from Newswatch 16's Jim Rennick, who was on the scene. He tells us that 7 homes were damaged, 2 were vacant. Now, there is fire and water damage to most of them. At least 6 people are homeless, and 1 woman had to be taken to the hospital for treatment of burns to the face and the hands. She has not been identified yet. Now, there's no word on what caused the Shannon.
After fire destroyed the personal care home they were living in. 3 residents are still in the hospital. Reporter Lisa Kaiser shows us how the other victims are trying to recover from the flames.
For almost 5 hours, firefighters battled flames at the Center Street nursing home. 9 elderly residents were rescued from the fire. 3 ended up in a hospital, 1 in serious condition. Now the residents are moving into this unoccupied convent, a situation which suits 73-year-old Lottie Fetter.
I think the place is lovely. Very, very nice.
The nursing home manager appreciates community support given during the crisis.
We have been receiving so many replies from the Red Cross, the Salvation Army. The different department stores have been very generous. It was, they say, a godsend, because where would you take these people? And it's just ideal for us.
Other Mahanoy City residents feel thankful today.
The people who own Florian's flower shop adjacent to the nursing home feel lucky their property wasn't more damaged.
I feel fortunate. And the firemen, they worked very hard to save this place and the other combining buildings.
The basement of the flower shop is filled with water, but structurally the building is fine, as is the Rite Aid pharmacy on the other side of the Valley Personal Care Home. Now investigators are trying to figure out what touched off the fire.
It's probably going to take us a couple days. There's so much destruction on the inside that we may never even find the cause of the fire.
Nursing home residents won't be moving back into the building. Owners say they'll rebuild instead. Elisa Kaiser, Eyewitness News, Mahanoy City.